You are listening to KGNU, Boulder, Denver, and Fort Collins. Welcome to Storytellers of Color, a show that airs every second Monday of the month as part of a public affair on KGNU. I am your host, Rosana Longobetter. The main goal of the show is to provide a safe space for communicators of color through a series of conversations to elevate their voices and discuss issues of equality in the community. Today, our guest speaker is Mar Malak, known in our Latinx community for her work at El Centro Amistad as one of the teachers in a program called Artesana, that in English means crafts woman. But it is also a plan on words or a compound of two words, arte, that means art, and sana, that means healthy. Mar was born in Puebla, Mexico, where she attended the Benemérita Universidad Autónoma de Puebla and obtained a degree in translation while working as a journalist. Mar es además una artista, also an artist and an educator. Welcome, bienvenida, Mar, a los estudios el día de hoy.
Muchas gracias, Rosana. Buenos días. Good morning, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming into the studios in a virtual format. And today we're also pushing the show to Facebook so that our, Facebookers in the community can also have the opportunity to enjoy our talk today. Please share a little bit about you and your passions in life. Please, Mar.
I grew up in Puebla, Mexico. I lived there most of my life. And since I was a kid, my mom always tried to encourage art in my life. So since I was very little, I attended to different and private art classes. Creating was my healing tool and a tool that I used to communicate, to be. One of my biggest dreams as a kid was to be a muralist. And I remember just like trying to paint my room with murals every other year, but I will always cover them because I kind of felt shy about it. And my dad will always tell me, practice makes the master. So so basically my room was my first canvas. As I kept growing older, art was one of my biggest passions. Writing. I also fell in love with nature when I was very little. Those were my three main passions: books, art, nature.
I had the opportunity to attend one of your first workshops, I think at El Centro Amistad, where you taught how to make Mexican paper flowers to a group of Latinx immigrant women, invited by Elena Aranda, Director of Health, Equity, and Education at El Centro Amistad. That was my first experience in a class with you, and it was so nice. Gathering with a group of women, all chatting in Spanish. It was super nice. And then the options of creating together remind me of when I was little and we used to gather around to work on, the corn and the beans or making pastas. It was almost like a cooking experience for me at that moment. Tell us what El Centro Amistad had to do in order to keep on bringing the Artesana workshops to the community in the time of COVID, in the time of the pandemic.
Well, I'm going to talk about not only about our program, but El Centro Amistad changed all the programs that we have virtual. So we moved to Zoom right at the beginning of the pandemic. And in my case, my groups were more, like you were saying, women oriented for immigrants. And what change is that I opened the classes to all public, and we started inviting people from other countries. So the dynamic has changed a little bit. And of course, we have to integrate materials that are more, that everybody has at home. Instead of, because we used to provide the materials in the classes, and but since we moved virtual, now what we try to do is to incorporate different workshops that you can do with things that you have at home, and you don't have to go out to the stores and get them. We try doing we did art with semillas, with corn. We did, I think that you went to a class painting with coffee.
Yes,
We
I
have been
did. I did
doing.
the coffee painting, and that was awesome because I'm a super coffee drinker, and just to know that I can paint with the material, let's say that also drink, that was awesome. And the shades of the coffee, you can make them darker and lighter. And I
Yeah.
remember going crazy, starting to paint with coffee, and showing off to my kids that, look, guys, I can paint my cup of coffee with coffee. That was awesome.
Yeah, definitely. We have also, one of the things that I really like about Artesana is that we share different like handicrafts from mostly from Mexico, because I am from Mexico. So, but sometimes I have other facilitators from another countries that are sharing something about their own country. But we have had three classes so far that had gone virtual, that are cartoneria, which is like paper mache. It's kind of like a similar technique, but cartoneria, it's a very old technique in our culture. So yeah, just trying to provide people with the experience of creating and making art through the pandemic without having to leave home, and still having that feeling of we are all connected. We have a space where we can learn how to create or just develop our creative self. Um, and also, it's been amazing to have the opportunity to connect with people and families from another countries.
You're listening to our member-supported KGNU Community Radio. I am your host, Rosana Longobetter, and we are talking with Mar Malak from El Centro Amistad in our program Storytellers of Color as part of a public affair today. As an immigrant in the United States, Mar celebrates identity and cultural roots. And as a cultural manager, she's excited about creating connections and the possibility of building united, resilient, and creative communities. What you have explained already today is that this artesana and this project that you have also been working recently, it really talks about the importance of keeping our health. I'm saying not only our mental health, but also our physical health. And it is super important. Please share with us about your recent project as part of the Health Promoters or Promotoras de Salud in Spanish, born as part of the Trends Reporting Fellowship, a program supported by the Community Foundation of Boulder County, KGNU, and the Knight Foundation. I think it is important for listeners to know about this project that you have been working because, in the United States, as you know, the Latinx community is the number one affected by diabetes. The Hispanic Latino American adult is 50% more likely to develop diabetes in their younger age. So what you have been working on, besides, bringing us the art, is also on this project of gathering stories, real stories from local people. Please share with us, Mar.
Well, everything has started a couple years ago. I remember that we were in a team meeting and we were sharing about like the progress of our programs and just talking about what's been going on or sharing testimonies from our attendees. And I remember hearing this story about uh, from a promotora de salud, a health promoter, and she was sharing that there was this participant that was sharing with her about taking her kid to the panaderia, and her kid was saying, I feel like we should buy less bread. Instead of eating 2 pastries per day, we can just eat one. And I thought how powerful that is, that um, in some way this program it's oriented to parents, but it's having an impact in our children. And for me, with my background as an educator, that really fascinated me, the idea of the big impact that we are having in the community with this program that it's Promotoras de Salud. And also for my project, I wanted to talk about something that had a big impact in the community. And I thought, um, this is like the best opportunity to tell these stories or to learn more about this topic. Um, for me, I feel like working at El Centro Amistad and learning about the promotoras and meeting the promotoras has been like a life-changing experience, um, because I work with them, I know them, I know how hard they work and how they connect with all the community members. So it felt that I needed to do that. And I needed to go after those stories that where people was saying that somehow learning about all that they put in their body, or having the right tools, or having just the tools to take a different path, will impact not only themselves, but their families.
You gather real stories from local members of the community struggling with issues of health equity because of the different challenges they have to face living in Boulder, as low income, many jobs, 2, 3 jobs, and particularly living in Boulder, a city that has been named the second year name as the best place to live in the United States. Um, the Latinx community, they don't have access to drinkable water. They don't have
Mhm.
access also because of the cost to nutritious food. And then also exercising in Boulder is not an easy thing. Why? Because going to the centers have a cost, and also you need to have
Mhm.
that time to
Yeah.
take care of your body. So please explain to us what were the barriers, the main barriers that people in your stories share with you that prohibit them from accessing to good water, to good food, and to time to exercise.
Um, when I started working with this project, I was thinking maybe the main reason was culture. Uh, at least in Mexico, I know that we do a lot of celebration with food. There is a lot of fiesta around food, and that's one of the things that I love about my culture. And at the same time, so many of the foods that we get to eat are not necessarily healthy. So I thought that maybe that's a big reason, just people coming with their culture or with their own ideas of what is healthy, right? Before really knowing what is inside their meals or whatever they are drinking. But then when I started working in my project, I started reading more and talking more with Ana Karina Casas, which is like the coordinator of the Promotoras de Salud. Um, I started realizing that there are so many other barriers. And one of them is, like you were mentioning before, time to exercise. Definitely, I only gathered 3 stories, but I was talking with a lot of people, and they will all come to the same conclusion, just like having so many jobs or having two jobs, or some of them are single moms with two jobs, having to take care of their kids as well. You don't really, they didn't have the time or the energy. Um, Also, I feel like there is this culture in Boulder of like organic food, local food, but always those food are more expensive. So sometimes that's actually a very big barrier for people. Um, how can you afford all these trendy meals that are healthier for your body? So that's very hard for families. And there are some programs that, uh, like the fruit and veggies programs that we also have from El Centro Amistad. Uh, but there is only so much support that it can be provided to the community, that it just is not enough. We need more. Um,
Please tell us about the program El Reto. El Reto in English is the challenge that
mhm.
El Centro Amistad is right now promoting in order to support a changing lifestyle in the community. But it's offering in Spanish. It's being offered in Spanish. It's being offered in a way and in a modality that is accessible, that it really provides access in a way to understand why drinking more water is important, and why having choosing the food is important, and also why you need to incorporate activities and exercise. It's really a project and a program that I have been experiencing too when I have had the chance. And it's incredible because you have a nutritionist in charge of
Mhm.
you. If you can explain about, El Reto, the challenge.
Uh, First of all, I have to say, it's a program that has been incorporating different opportunities, um, as long as it keeps going. Like the first one is very different than the last one that we have provided, because the last one, they did have a nutrologist. They also, this time, they are going to incorporate another opportunity that it's they the health promoters just got a certificate for diabetes. Um, so they are going to be supporting people that has diabetes, and how to how to prevent or how to have a healthy lifestyle while having diabetes. So that's going to be a new feature of the program. But yes, they have exercise classes twice a week. They have a trainer that works. It's like a personalized trainer. So it works according to your needs and where are you at. Some people has more, I forgot the word, but yeah, some people is stronger than others, do more exercise than others. So this trainer meets you wherever you're at with your body. They also have a nutritionist, um, where they learn about how to eat healthy, or not how to eat healthy, but also how to replace some items of your meal with other healthier options. Um, they also have like a drink more water challenge within the challenge, um, and they are more aware of the amount of water that they are drinking. And yeah, this time they will be working with the promotoras that just finished their certification on um, diabetes and how to prevent or how to have a healthy life.
These issues of equity, and access to social justice, I will say access to all these things is a topic of social justice. And in the case of the Latinx community, mainly living in mobile home parks, that is one of the reasons why drinking water was not so, easy for our communities because you have to buy water
Mhm.
in order to drink it, and that is costly. So it's something that the city is trying to address, but this is what the sugar tax came to place, and promoting all these things that are important. I want to ask you, to share. I would like you to share one of those stories that you gather that really stay with you, that makes you see the reality of our community, of the community here.
Um, that's a very that's a very hard request because I feel like all of them were very powerful, and just the whole project was very powerful. Just learning about the struggles. I knew about the struggles, but just having like that reminder of what our gente goes through day by day, and all the systemic barriers that they have to go through, and also just learning about the resilience, um, how we try to make a good opportunity of everything. Just thinking about one of the stories where this was a single mom, and she was saying, I always wanted to be part of the program, but I never really had the time. But since the pandemic started, I lost my job, but I was able to join this program. I was like, now I have the time, why not? Like coming from a place of yeah, so much resilience, so much strength from our gente. Um,
Yes, you're right. So much strength. How can people register for el reto? ¿Cómo pueden las personas registrarse para este reto que nos ayuda a la salud?
you can connect Ana. Her email is ana@elcentroamistad.org, and then she can refer you to another health promoter. Yeah.
And this is a completely free
Yep.
service that El Centro Amistad provides. Thank you so much, Mar, for joining us this morning for our Storytellers of Color, a collaborative effort with an open invitation to other storytellers to come into our airwaves, to tell their stories, and to occupy the safe space that we are providing every second Monday of the month as part of a public affair here in KGNU Community Radio. Just your last words for the community.
Well, I feel very very inspired by my community. It really motivates me and makes me want to do more. Yeah.
That's really inspiring. Yeah, working with the people, for the people, and with the people, understanding their realities. Thank you so much, Matlak, for joining us today. And people can go into our um, Facebook platform and see this complete interview again. I have been your host, Rosana Longo Better. Stay tuned this morning for another 2.5 hours of the morning sound alternative this morning. I really want to thank you because this has been a really nice conversation, and I hope that you are able to put out those stories so that people can really share them around. I am looking forward to to have them and to read them and to understand the realities of our community. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mar.
thank you, Rosana. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
No, it has
Gracias.
been such a pleasure. Muchísimas gracias. Y si quieres también dar unas palabras en español para que las personas puedan registrarse.
Pues si quisieran unirse al reto, pueden contactar a Ana Karina Casas. Su email es ana@elcentroamistad.org. Es un programa bien bonito y les aseguro que les va a cambiar muchas cosas, la vida, la perspectiva. Sí, pues los esperamos.
Muchas gracias. Hasta luego, Mar. Un placer. Thank you so
Adiós.
much. Adiós.